As you all come across the abandoned carnival scene, you see strewn about different areas of trash and waste. It's clear that nobody has been here for some time and the entire place has been abandoned. Shy J, what do you do?
I see that statue in the middle there. I actually kind of want to go investigate that real quick and see what that's about.
Sure. As you approach the statue, you can see it's made out of some sort of cheap metal made to resemble a dragon. The closer you get, you can see that it's sort of rusted all over, and as you investigate, you can actually see there looks to be some sort of button, kind of a bright red one, sitting behind one of its legs. What do? Push the button. Okay, so you push the button, and immediately hear this. As part of the dragon opens, it makes this.
Roll initiative. What do you mean roll combat?
So truthfully, keeping attention spans at the table can be really different from group to group. You might have some people who are really invested in the story and always paying attention, or you might have people who are just kind of off the wall and constantly having side conversations. They're still role-playing, they're still in character, but it's still disruptive to have so many people talking at the table. Especially when you, as the Dungeon Master, is trying to keep the story moving forward to keep everybody excited and entertained. But when all that keeps happening and things keep going off the rails, eventually by the end of the session, while people might have had some laughs, which is always the goal, you might have your players walking away disappointed because they realize not a whole ton happened that session. You waited 1 whole week, 2 whole weeks, a whole month to play, and well, what ended up happening? We just kind of dicked around in the same chamber for the entire time and nothing else occurred. That's not what you want. You want people walking away feeling like they had an enjoyable and good time with their friends, and that they told a good story. And so here's what you do. There is a specific sort of thing that I use at my table, a concept which has been incredibly helpful. And while I've been very lax on it in recent years, simply because, well, we've moved to more casual games, it is still incredibly helpful, and it's the concept I call the spotlight. The spotlight is a concept where you focus specifically on making sure that everybody around the table knows where the spotlight is pointed. It's essentially a way of imaginarily directing everybody to what's important in the story currently and where their attention needs to be focused. Consider it like the camera lens in a movie. The camera lens always points at what the audience should be paying attention to. Anytime that the camera lens is pointed at anything, everybody is focused on it. There is no doubt that that is what you're supposed to be watching in the movie. Now, am I saying that Dungeons and Dragons stories are movies? Absolutely not. But it can be very helpful because it is theater of the mind to help everybody focus on what's most important in the story in that moment so that they can all invest in each other. Let me give you an example.
Okay. You got
21.
Gotcha. Okay, and 15 through 10.
16.
Okay, 8.
Yeah, 8.
And 3. Gotcha. Shy J, you're first up in initiative. What do you want to do? Actually, I said that I was gonna hold my action. I actually wanted to do something. So since I was holding my action, shouldn't I go first in initiative? I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was holding my action. I just didn't get to tell you.
Actually, because we already decided to roll initiative, we're gonna stick with what we had in the future. If you have something like that, just raise your hand, I'll get to you. But just please make sure to do that so I know you're actually planning on doing it and we don't have to try and resolve it after the fact.
I mean, that's fine. It's whatever. It's stupid. It's not how Matthew Mercer would have done it. But I summon Undead Frogomon!
That's not a spell. What the
A few moments later.
Okay, guys, I can't have you keep doing this. I'm sorry, but I had no other choice. We're going to have to enact the spotlight. Here's the deal. The issue here is, in a movie, where is the camera going to focus? But Dungeons and Dragons, as I stated earlier, is not a movie. It is a theater of the mind story. And so what you want here is the players to get the information they need and to feel like they can be invested while still being able to explore in this open sandbox world. And so what you need to do is use the spotlight. If your party is aware of the spotlight and you can let them know, hey, spotlight's on the wizard right now, they can still keep their conversation to the side. They can still have that fun little moment, but they either need to wait until the spotlight can shine on them, or they can whisper amongst themselves. But it is a very clear imaginary indicator of where the focus needs to be and what we need to give respect to at the moment. It also makes it clear as a dungeon master to give you a tool to let them know, hey, this is important for the story currently. This riddle is something that you guys may need to help with. This is something that we need to pay attention to. Now, it is important not to abuse this tool. It is important not to make the players feel like they can't do anything because you just keep shining the spotlight and saying, focus on my story. they are the main characters of the story. Never forget that. Don't use this as a chance to just shove yourself in and railroad them. That's not what I want you to do, and that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, however, is you need to use it to be able to focus on where important story beats are happening so that they can goof off later. They know where the spotlight is shown, they know what's important, and now they can have fun over here, and we can shine the spotlight on that. It also helps when characters are having in-character conversations. If you're a very roleplay heavy group and you have two characters who are having a very deep heart-to-heart,
Caleb, that's deeply fucked up. You know that, right?
yeah, and other people are joking off on the side, spotlight. You can simply say, hey guys, spotlight's over here, and focus in to be able to do that. Don't leave the spotlight there too long because then the other players will get bored and feel neglected, but you can help them with that and then shine the spotlight elsewhere. It really helps to keep the entire table invested and focused on the different things that they're supposed to be focusing on. It's natural for players to want to entertain themselves, to want to interact with the world, to have fun, and that's good. They're not doing anything wrong by doing that. However, it can be very distracting and a problem if they are being disruptive around the table while that's trying to occur. It leads to the story not moving forward, it leads to less investment, and it leads to the rest of the players really not interacting so well with each other. And it can be a very disappointing experience if you're not careful with it. And that's one of the things that's very important to do, is to lead people to caring about the right things. To be able to goof off and have fun, but to direct them to the important story beats when it's time for it, so that they feel when they're goofing off, they have the time to goof off and won't be missing out on anything. That's a really important and crucial part of it. One of the other things that you can try and help people out with is when they're not in the spotlight, to have something for them to do. I find it very useful and easy to take notes or to doodle in order to keep my brain occupied, or my hands occupied more like it, while things are occurring so I can focus on what's going on at the session. Oftentimes offering your players things to interact with while this is occurring is very helpful. You can go ahead and get products like different notebooks or pens and hand them out to your players, or ask them to do that for themselves to be able to entertain themselves while they're not necessarily in the spotlight. Not everybody has attention issues, but attention issues are a serious thing for some people, so please keep that in mind. One of the groups that I work with, 1985, has a ton of different things that you can use in order to be able to work with that, and if you want to go ahead and take a look at them, look in the description down below. They've got a lot of great products to help enhance your game and also to help your players out as well. But give something for them to be able to interact with, not just because they're, hyperactive children, but something that helps them invest in the story even when they're not in the spotlight. Because you have to remember, if you're asking them to maintain a care on the spotlight, it does mean a lot of the times they'll be sitting there not doing a lot. And it is common respect to give attention to people while that's going on, but not everybody signs up for that necessarily. Work with your group and figure out what it is that they care about. Figure out what they want to do and what they care about as well. And then here's something important as the Dungeon Master. When you shine the spotlight on people, make sure to look at those who are not in the spotlight, because you can tell and see who is invested and who is not, who is feeling neglected. It is very obvious. And while it is great for all of us to give respect to each other, it's also important as a Dungeon Master to give respect to those who are not in the spotlight. You have shown it on somebody, you need to make sure at some point to shine it on the others who have not been getting that much space. If you're going to ask them to give that respect, they also have to feel respected from you and that you're going to give them their time in the spotlight. Okay, everybody, as combat comes to a close and the entire area remains quiet, zombie corpses littering the floor, and one giant undead Froggemoth, we come to a close and we can now investigate the area. What do you all do?
Yeah, actually, if I can go investigate the corpses real quick, I kind of want to see what's going on with them, if there's anything interesting going on.
Do you think I could eat the zombies' brains and gain their powers? Like, they were a lot faster than us. Do you think if I ate them, my movement speed would increase? Because I feel like through the transitive property, that would actually work pretty well. I feel like that would work well.
Okay, hold on. Edgy J, we were just going with Annoyed J over there. We were doing what they were doing, and you interrupted. You were ignoring the spotlight and not focusing on who it was focused on at the moment. I get that you're excited to eat zombie brains, and I promise I will let you make that mistake a little bit later, but let's focus on what we're doing over here, and then we'll get back to you in a second.
So while you're shining it on somebody else, especially if it's been a pretty large amount of time, look around at everybody else and figure out what it is that you can do to shine light back on them. You want to give everybody their time to be able to shine. I mean, that's basically D&D as a whole, isn't it? So it's really important to focus on that and make sure that you're doing that to give your entire party a feeling like they belong and they're being given something to do. And the last thing to consider when talking about the spotlight is to remember one important, very crucial aspect. You as a Dungeon Master are not the only one in control of the spotlight. It is your job to make sure people respect it, and it is your job to kind of help facilitate it. But the spotlight is something that the entire table has control over. What do they care about? Maybe one of the PCs has been having a lot of attention on them. but the rest of the party is really invested in that and this current arc is focused on their backstory, then that's okay. It is important to make sure that everybody at the table is feeling comfortable with where the spotlight is being directed. Sometimes, yes, you do have to enforce it, but it is not your job to always control it. It is the table's job. This is a collaborative game and a collaborative experience, and it's important to let them also enjoy in that experience. Everybody cares about different things, and the only thing you're supposed to do as the Dungeon Master is make sure that everybody feels comfortable being able to experience those things and putting focus on them. And that can be a difficult task. It is always a balancing act. So talk with your players about it and figure it out, and make sure that you're not strong-arming them, but instead giving a useful tool that everybody can imagine in order to be able to enjoy the best game possible at their table, where they all feel like they got to experience what they wanted to experience. So try it out, let me know how it goes, and, well, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all the usual YouTube nonsense, but ultimately, please just go out into the world, make it your own, have a great day, and never forget to play your role.
This video wouldn't be possible without the incredible, beautiful bastards over on our Patreon. I'd like to give a very personal special thank you to the Divine Bastards Big D the Cool Guy, BKBW, Diet Blue, Duplicolor, Rocky, Sassy Productions, Sorit, Supreme Court, Tineye, Void Mystic, Volpe Nico, Zombies Were People Too, and all the rest of the incredible people who keep supporting us. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without you guys, and you mean the absolute world to us. Keep being beautiful, keep being amazing, and as always, make the world your own.
Okay, guys, I can't have you keep doing this. I'm sorry, but I have no other choice. We're going to have to enact the spotlight.